Everyone, today we are diving into a topic that's essential for understanding how Kotlin works, and that topic is operators. Operators allow us to perform various operations on our variables and variables. For example, take a look at this line of code: var sum equal 10 plus 2, right? In this code, we have a variable sum equals sign, which is a type of operator, 10, which is a value, and 2, which is also a value, and then plus sign, which is also an operator. Now, there are different categories of operators, right? You have, for example, the plus sign falls into arithmetic operators. So, other arithmetic operators are like minus sign, which is subtraction, multiplication, which is represented by an asterisk, division, which is represented by a slash. You also have modulo. If you're new to programming, you're probably not familiar with this. So it's the percentage sign. So what it actually does, it returns the remainder of a division. So when you divide 10 by 2, you'll get a remainder of 2 because when you divide 10 by 2, you'll get a remainder of 0, right? Because 2 goes into 10 5 times and it does not remainder, and it does not return a remainder because it goes into it perfectly, right? If you had, say, 3, 3 would go into 10 3 times and leave a remainder of 1. So that's how the modular operator, right, works. That's how the modulus operator works, right? Now, besides the arithmetic operator, we have the assignment operator, and more than in most cases, this is just the basic equal sign where you just pass the equal sign and you pass a value to it, right? Now, what are more interesting are the comparison operators, and these help us to compare values and get either a true or false value, right? Now, here are some examples. So, for example, some example would be like var is identical, and let's say name is equal to name. And to prove what this return, let's just print it. Print is identical, and it should return true, by the way. And there it is, it returns true. And how this works is that it says, all right, is name equal to name? Are they the same? Basically, we're checking to see if they're the same. And what you could say is not equal to, and this is represented by an exclamation sign before the equal sign. So is name not equal to name, which in this case will obviously be false. So that is it. That was the equal to operator and the not equal to operator. You also have greater than operator, less than operator. So we could define a variable called is greater and set it equal to 2, is greater than 4, on print is greater. And this should return false since 2 is not greater than 4. And we could have things like greater than or equal to. So we say 4 is greater than or equal to 4, which in this case, it's actually equal to, so it will get passed as true. And it's just a matter of just mixing and matching less than or equal to greater than or equal to. Now you also have logical operators, and these are basically operators for combining more than one expression. So it's like having the comparison operators and combining them with specific types of operators. For example, you have the AND operator, and what this does, it says that if you have two expressions and if both of them are true, then you return a true. If either of them is false, then we return false, right? So let's take a look at that. So we could create a variable name, call name equal to recorder, and let's just rename that to first name and create another one called last name and set it equal to merchant, right? Now what we're gonna do is use logical operator and what we're gonna say is that if first name is equal to recorder, and last name is equal to merchant, then is me, we're going to set it to a variable is me, and is me should be true. Else, if either of these is not Ricardo or not merchant, then it should be false since it won't be me. So val is me is equal to first name is equal to Ricardo, and last name is equal to merchant. So if either of these condition is not true, then we'll get false. But since both of these are actually true, we should get true in a terminal. We get true then false, and the reason for that is because we had left a print statement here. So let's comment that out. And we get false, and the reason for that is that, as I've said before in previous tutorial, is that Kotlin is case sensitive, so spaces matter, capitalization matters. So there we had an extra space, and hence why we got false. And there it is, true. So besides the AND operator, what we also have is the OR operator. And what this does is that if either of these condition is true, we'll get true. So even if we change our last name to say merch, it will still say true because our first name is correct. Since all that the OR operator is doing is that it is just looking and making sure that either of these condition is true. As long as one of these are true, it doesn't care about the other. So let's print this. Should be true. And there it is, true. There is also another logical operator. Well, there are a lot more logical operator, but we're just focusing on the ones that you'll see most often. So if we put an exclamation mark before all of this expression in the bracket, what it does, it's called a not logical operator, right? And what it does is that whatever we get as a result of a combination of other expression is that we flip the switch. So if this expression evaluates to true in the bracket, we'll return false because we're saying not true, which is false. And if we get false, then we're saying not false, which would have been true. And as we had seen before, this was true, as we can see here. So not true should be false. And there it is, false. So if you found this tutorial helpful, consider subscribing to not miss out on future updates, and stay tuned for future videos on Kotlin. Until next time, happy coding.